Lindsay, thank you so much for joining us. I'm so glad to have you on the podcast because, of course, I know that our work is not dissimilar from each other.
Yeah.
You work with businesses and family businesses, and you also have a lot of experience being in your own family business too.
Yeah.
So tell me more about yourself, your work, and also your history with your family.
Yeah, no, I was delighted when you contacted me a few months ago, and I didn't know why you contacted me. I just went by your sort of job title, and I was like, oh, great, someone specializes in family businesses. And then when we met, I was thinking we've both approached our jobs through our own personal lived experience, and I think although we're coming at it from a different angle,
Mm,
we've done it from experience, not just
yeah,
theory,
yeah,
because when you study psychotherapy or HR, it's a lot of
mm,
theory.
yeah,
And
it is theory.
I really believe that you learn through
Mm,
experience.
mm,
And watching as a member of a family business, you watch it
mm,
build
yeah.
and grow or unravel or whatever. And I mean, I'll go back to where I
Mm,
am.
yeah.
Or, so I was born into the third generation of a family business.
Mm,
My grandfather was an immigrant, and he came to the UK due to there was just no work. He's Irish, and there was no work in
mm,
the rural west of Ireland, like
wow.
many hundreds of thousands who came over in the
Mm,
1930s.
mm,
Um, I need to check the exact date, but he met an English woman and married. My
mm.
father was actually born in London, and they obviously stayed. And my grandfather wasn't conscripted into the army because he was an Irish national, and
Okay.
so he was very busy working because obviously the London was bombed heavily,
Mm,
and the
yeah.
British guys were away fighting, and so it was good that
Mm,
he was able to sort of put Britain back together again. And there is a book
yeah.
written about that. I might talk about it later.
Mm, okay.
The
Written about your grandfather.
It's called The Irish Who Built Britain. So it
Mm,
talks about the Irish Navy,
okay.
and it's by it's an academic research by
Mm,
historians. So
mm,
it started with the railways when they were
right.
built in the previous century, and that's where the name navvy came
Mm,
from, navigators who
oh,
were the
right.
original sort of laying the railways. But
Yeah.
my family uh, came over in the 1930s, so yeah, nearly
Mm,
100 years ago.
mm,
And then yeah, so that's how it started. He did come over with his brother. My grandfather was the eldest of 13 children, and that's happened. You sent
mm,
the eldest over to
right.
earn money for the
Right.
family.
Yeah.
We were poor. My father left school at 14 with no education, but he was brought up in the British education system.
Right.
In the Irish community in northwest London called Cricklewood. It's quite famous as an Irish centre. So he was,
Mm,
in that culture, but
yeah.
not brought up in rural Ireland. So he saw things a bit more modern,
Mm,
perhaps,
mm,
and had the same work ethic, hardworking,
mm,
entrepreneur,
mm,
go-getter. And he left school, and at 14 and started work.
mm,
Uh, I know he used to say he started as a butcher's boy, delivering for the
mm.
butcher. I don't know exactly when he started work for
Okay.
his dad. And my
Mm.
my father passed away 12 years ago, so I can't ask him.
Oh, oh, sure. But I imagine it was young back all
He would
those
have been
years
young.
ago.
Maybe he
Yeah.
was 16 or 17. Yeah, he would have been
Right.
quite young.
Mm,
Um, and then so they were just really like you would see like a small gang, two or
mm,
three men, because as I said, it was the two brothers and my dad.
mm.
And then the business sort of the business started, I think it was registered in early 1940s, and then in early 1950s, the two brothers, my grandfather and his brothers, they
Okay.
split the company, and my great uncle set up a new company, um, basically because they were just a strategic split. It wasn't like
Okay.
a split for an argument. They just,
Mm.
my side wanted to
Mm.
concentrate on telecom cables, and
Okay.
he wanted to do electrical, and he could see the growth in. So it was
Mm.
really like a strategic split.
Mm.
And I
Right.
have written about that because often family businesses hit the headlines when there is splits and
Yeah. When it goes
conflict at the
wrong.
top and everything. And I was trying to find out through
Mm.
my personal research if that had
Mm.
happened in our history, but it wasn't. It was just a
Mm.
business.
Mm.
And
Mm.
it's easier to run your own business. So that's what happened.
Mm.
So because our livery or our company colours were green for
Yeah.
Ireland, obviously.
Uh-huh.
Um, my great uncle had to change the colour and he had brown livery. So in
Okay.
the industry, anyone who's worked in construction industry would remember us as Green Max and Brown Max. And that's how they
Oh,
would talk about it because to differentiate the two family businesses that
okay.
both grew into multi-million-pound businesses.
Yeah. And was the family name Mac?
No, Matt
Mac.
Nicholas. It's Matt Nicholas.
Mac Nicholas.
Matt
Okay.
Nicholas. And yeah, they just got shortened to Green, to Max.
Green Mac.
But Green Max or Brown Max, and it was and we didn't
Mm.
compete. We
Mm.
didn't touch each other's turf, sort of thing,
Mm.
in
Mm.
sectors. And then, anyway, as I said, the fact the business grew.
Mm.
I was born in the mid 60s, and we were still living in northwest London, and kind of.
Mm.
Yeah, my mum didn't work and everything. I was the youngest. I had two older brothers, and when I was 5, we moved to Hertfordshire and we moved to quite a big house and everything. So I
Mm.
got the impression that Dad was doing quite well,
Doing
but
well.
it was a stretch for him to move to this house and
Okay.
it needed updating and renovating. But being the entrepreneur and in the
Okay.
industry, he did
You crack
obviously do
on.
that. And
Yeah.
yeah, we've still got links to that property now. And then growing, this is what I've just been recently writing about, is
Mm.
what it's like to grow up as a daughter or a son of a
Mm.
family business. And it's like how it
Right.
affects. I mean, I recall like laying low, because mum would
Okay.
say dad's really stressed, keep out of his way, the
Okay.
pressure of running a company.
Yeah.
And as a kid, you knew to sort of stay out of the way and not
Mm.
call, otherwise
Mm.
there'll be repercussions. And
Okay.
learning that the business put the food on the table. If the business was
Right.
profitable, we got a holiday and
You got.
we could have
Yeah.
nice things. But if
Yeah.
we had bad years as well, and
Right.
things got restricted, so
Yeah. You
to be
tighten
able
your
to live.
belt then.
Yeah. What else did I learn? I learned that it was kind of like business first. It was like
Mm.
family was really important. The
Mm.
loyalty to the family and the business as well.
Mm.
It was all very entwined.
Right. Yeah.
Um, So when my grandfather started stepping away, my father took on the reins. He was the eldest son, and there was three
Mm.
further sons as well. So there were 4 brothers
Yeah.
worked in the business. So they were my dad and my uncles,
Yeah.
and the business continued to grow. I don't really know the numbers, but we were building in civil engineering contractors, basically,
Mm.
mostly out of in the UK.
Mm.
And then there was no pressure on me as a daughter to go into the business, and not
Okay.
really interviewing my brothers. Now I'm like writing and researching it. I said, were you
Mm.
ever put under pressure to
Right.
join
Were
the
they?
company? And
Yeah.
they weren't. And it's quite interesting because my eldest brother is a civil engineer, but
Mm.
yeah, my father said to him, go and get more experience. And he went to work
Okay.
in the Middle East and working for a bigger contractor and in bigger projects.
Mm.
He then did come back to the UK and did come into the
Okay.
firm. But his first, after graduation,
Mm.
he worked for 6 or 7 years for a major contractor.
Mm.
And when my father asked him to come and work for the family business, it was
Mm.
on the promise or the caveat that he would sponsor his master's degree, and that
Okay.
was the sweetener. So he did join
Mm.
us,
He
um,
came.
because obviously he had the technical ability that would be
Right.
great as a
Yeah.
leadership level.
Yeah.
Whilst my other brother was interested in the arts and music and fashion and so
Mm.
forth, and you would never think that he would want to have anything to do with a construction company. And he
Yeah.
was working for a record label in London,
Ah,
hip and trendy.
yeah.
And he just went, I don't want to make money for other people. I want to make money for the family. And
Mm,
he left the
I
record
understand.
industry to join the
He came.
construction industry. So a bit of a change. And
Yeah.
he joined. He ended up being our
Mm,
CEO. So he was not
mm,
from a civil engineering background.
yeah.
And similar to me, really, I didn't really want to go into it, but I wanted to do fashion. And I did study that, and my early career was. And
Oh, I didn't know that. I didn't know you
yeah,
studied
yeah.
fashion. Yeah.
And
Okay.
no, I love it now.
Mm,
I know that's another topic,
okay.
more of a hobby. That
Okay.
I, but I, when I was a teenager, I always needed money, basically.
Mm,
My I had yeah, I just needed some money,
sure.
and I was like, are there any, and Dad would
Mm,
say, come into the office and I'll pay you for
okay.
your summer holidays, and I was just doing um, invoices, answering the
Mm,
phone, just office work basically. But I was about 14, and
yeah.
every summer holidays I'd work there, and it would just give me some money to
Yeah.
for the lean months when I
Yeah.
was
The
back
lean
at
months. Yeah.
educating.
Yeah. But
So
so when you were young, did you know you were going to go into the business?
no, as I said, I did study
Mm,
business studies. I,
mm,
when I After my exams, I was like, well, I'm a bit of all rounder. I'm not like really strong at maths, or I'm not really
mm,
strong at languages. Where am I going to go? And I was a real all rounder. So I thought, well, I'll
mm,
choose business studies because I
mm.
thought it would be a good foundation. Because I thought my
Right.
logic was, whatever I do, if I've got a business background, whatever
Sure.
that business is, I've got that
Yeah.
foundation piece.
You'll
And
make
that's
it work. Yeah.
my interest was fashion, so my later course was business with fashion,
Mm,
and that's where my aspirations were,
mm.
and it didn't work out.
Okay. The fashion side of it.
Yeah, I was renting in London, and I was just worried about making ends meet, and I was like,
Sure.
Dad, is there any work back in the office? I need a job
Okay.
to pay
Yeah.
my rent.
Fair.
And I went to work for him. And
Mm.
again, it was going to be a stopgap. And I ended up staying 20 odd years.
Yeah. So
So
I wonder what kept you there. Because I always find these things really,
no money
really
because I
key.
got married the following year and I had a child the year after. So I got married
Okay.
young, had my first son young.
Mm,
And the office was near my home. So I
mm,
didn't have to commute to London.
mm.
And I was just used to it. It was
Makes
like
sense.
when you've been brought up in a family business, you kind
Mm,
of understand it.
mm,
You learn by osmosis,
mm,
and it becomes like it's natural.
mm, mm.
Although the technical side, I can't, build.
Oh,
I'm not a civil engineer, but
mm.
actual day-to-day business I could do.
Yeah.
And I kind of ran the office, and I was the PA for all the board, and they gave me the job. I think also because they trusted me.
Mm,
Um,
okay.
there's
Yeah.
and I've seen that more recently, family
Mm,
will give it to me, the work
mm,
to me because they trust it. I'm not going to rip
mm.
them off or anything.
Right. Okay. It is that we can trust family. It's just inherently it's almost granted with a lot of family members, when as a non-family member of staff would really have to earn that, go up the ranks. I
Yeah.
hear that.
As PA, you saw some really confidential
Right.
information. And
Mm.
so from the age of pretty much 21, I was sitting in board meetings. Okay,
Yeah.
I was the note taker, but I sat in them hours and
Yeah.
hours, and you listen and you're writing, and
Yeah.
I learned that way of how
Yeah.
to become how directors run businesses.
Yeah.
But when I was 29, 30, I felt the last couple of years on that role, I felt I hit the glass ceiling and I was very
Mm.
frustrated. I had the
Okay.
most senior admin role in the company. And
Mm.
we had I can't remember our turnover then. We had about 500 employees.
Mm.
Um,
Oh,
so
wow.
I just said to
Mm.
my uncle, who was the managing director at the time, my uncle Kevin, I said, we really need someone who does personnel or HR here. We've got
Mm.
500 employees and nobody
A lot.
is managing them, or
Yeah.
we would call it governance now.
Yeah.
It was a bit of a cowboy time.
Okay. Was it? Because I was this
Good
this was
me
the
job.
80s, 90s, was
Hmm?
it? Well, this was sort of the 80s, 90s, was it?
I can tell you the year. It was 1995 that
95.
happened because
Okay.
I was pregnant with my second child and I was about
Okay.
to go on maternity leave actually with my second boy.
Mm.
And he offered me the job and I said, I don't want the job. And I pointed to my bump
Yeah.
and I said,
Huge.
I'm leaving in like 6 weeks' time. I'm going on maternity leave. I'm not taking
Oh,
on a new role. I'm having a
right.
baby. I'm having a
Yeah.
baby.
Yeah.
Have you noticed?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
he said, because they'd got cover for me for my maternity leave, I was just taking 6 months off. He
Mm.
said, kind of make it permanent move and come back and set. He called it personnel, so I'm showing my age, but this that
Mm.
baby is
Mm.
30
Okay. Right.
this month, so
Oh,
that's
yeah.
that's my 30 years in HR. I mean, I have 10 years prior in business, but
Mm.
as
Mm.
PA and office manager, but not yeah.
Right. Yeah.
So I literally got thrown in the deep end. So six
Yeah.
months later, I had to set up the systems. I had to set up governance.
Okay.
We got inspected by the tax office about subcontractors, whether they were really subcontractors or not.
Mm.
So I was doing night school. I had two children doing
I
night
bet.
school and working this
Oof.
full-time job. And we
Yeah.
had 500, and we were having a tax investigation at the same time. So it
Man.
was in the deep end.
Yeah.
But anyway, I learnt quickly. I mean, and we'd
Hmm.
also broken
Hmm.
into a new market. My father, as I said, is an entrepreneur and he can spot
Hmm.
an opportunity.
Hmm.
I think he'd been on holiday or he'd been away for a business trip. He went and he was intrigued by cable TV in America, where it's
Okay.
cabled into the home. And he was like, we're cabling telephone lines into homes.
Sure.
So why can't we bring
Wow.
that technology to the UK?
Yeah.
And he remortgaged our home, and he was an early investor and adopter. And the
Okay.
deals he did was like, I'll I'll build it at cost, and
Hmm.
we put cable TV into Britain.
Oh,
Cable TV was
I didn't
like,
know that
yes,
was that. I
at
didn't
the
know that was your
time, we
family.
had BBC, ITV, Channel
Yeah.
4, but
Mm.
everything was on aerial.
Right.
And now it was, we've got multi-channels, but that also
Yeah.
then became the internet.
Mm.
So the technology, originally it was copper cable, and then the fiber optic
Mm.
came in. That
Yeah.
really did escalate things. It's the superhighway, the government changed and said we're investing in the superhighway. We were the
Yeah.
contractors putting that in. So
Mm.
that 500 head count within 7 years have gone to three and a half, just over 3,000.
Wow.
And
And
that's not
you're
counting
managing all
subcontractors.
this.
Hmm?
Yeah. And you're managing all this. You have to grow in your role.
And had only, I was learning.
Mm.
So I rode the crest of the wave,
Mm.
and I became became a board director, and I was the first female HR director, and
Yeah.
it was just interesting,
Yeah.
10 years earlier, I'd been taking the minutes and then I was
Sure.
sort of
Yeah.
making decisions at the top.
Yeah, but I mean, talk about earning it as a family member, that you have to go up through those ranks and get the experience. Because I think there's a real notion that if people are in the family, they're kind of given the role, but it's
You're never
so not
given.
always the
Yeah.
case.
And that was one of the reasons I left, actually. I left the family business because I
Right.
always felt a bit less than, a bit like, oh, I
Okay.
just got this because I'm Tommy's daughter.
Right.
And also being HR, and
Mm.
we were multiple families within the company. Obviously, at that
Mm.
size, people were
Mm.
bringing in their sons, saying,
Right.
the
Yeah.
managers would say, who'd worked for us for 20 years, saying, oh, my boy needs a job. Can
Okay.
and so I had this rule because I was in head of recruitment, I was
Mm.
saying, you get the foot in the door, you get
Mm.
started, but you have to
Mm.
prove yourself. We're not a
Right.
charity. So
Yeah.
even if you are related to
Yeah.
someone in the business,
Yeah.
it's not a given. We can't carry people in
Mm.
commercial business.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I said it like that, but I said it in nice terms, obviously. And I had to eat my own
Mm.
dog food
Oh, you
because
did.
there was times where I've
Mm.
had to I was
Mm.
involved with the dismissal of family members, personal family
Mm.
members,
Okay.
cousins and uncles and things. So
Mm.
difficult when you see them again at weddings and funerals.
Yeah, you sure, yeah, like I fired you. Yeah. But it so happens. It so happens because I think people don't realize, or people, I mean, I can appreciate how it's not easy to fire family members, but I guess it happens and people do it.
Have to do
Like,
it. You have to do
yeah,
it.
yeah.
Best two words,
Mm.
business first. Because
Okay.
as I said, when I said about the business puts the food on the table
Mm.
for the
Right.
family,
Yeah.
if it's like it's the goose laying the golden egg, it's providing
Mm.
the profit that we're
Okay.
living on and everything.
Right.
And if you've got someone who's sort of, if you've got
Mm.
a bad, especially in a very strategic decision position,
Yeah.
who's killing the goose,
Yeah.
it's gonna ruin it for everybody.
Yeah. 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 Totally.
I mean, and as a psychotherapist, you'd understand that, you know, businesses are also emotional systems.
Mm. Yeah.
I knew no
Yeah.
different. As I said, I'd
Mm.
only ever known that role.
Mm.
In my mid 40s, I decided that because I'd seen the generations before me. I thought
Mm.
I'm either staying, and I'd been working there full time since my early 20s. I'm thinking I'm going to be here until I'm 70. In my 70s, I'm going to be here 50 years. And at that age, it seemed daunting. And
Right.
I just thought, no, I don't know if I can do it that long.
Okay.
I also wanted to prove to
Mm.
myself that I could work elsewhere. And fortunately,
Mm.
I
Mm.
had a set, my skill set, my experience was
Mm.
agnostic in theory. I could work in
Mm.
different employers.
Sure. Yeah.
So I, I took the leap of faith
Mm.
and sort of and left. And
Yeah.
I mean, it was
I
my
wonder
decision.
how, yeah, how was it to do that? Because I mean, potentially a huge experience, like a huge decision to walk away.
Yeah, I mean, you don't you and I often do exit interviews for employees who leave, like what reasons for leaving, because we
Mm.
analyze that, and sort
Mm.
of it was
Mm.
part of us. You leave you leave for multiple reasons. You'll have a headline,
Mm. Mm.
I left because probably, as I say, 4 or 5 reasons.
Mm.
It's tough at the top. I was,
Mm.
director of a large company. My
Mm.
husband, who worked in fashion, was also director of a large company. So we were like ships passing in the
Yeah.
night. We had two
Right.
children.
Okay.
My youngest one by this time was 13, and he was like,
Mm.
Mom, you've never picked me up from school.
Okay.
And I felt so much guilt about that. I've never been,
Okay.
I was missing a lot of his life.
Okay.
And I I kind of had this really like I'm ambitious. I climbed
Mm.
that ladder. I
Mm.
crawled my way to the top of
Yeah.
and then I realized at the top I wasn't completely happy. And I was thinking this ladder is propped up against, I'm not liking the view at the top.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
let's go this direction.
Yeah.
Um, and I think I had a bit of burnout. We'd been through a corporate turnaround, restructure. We'd had to
Okay.
do some massive layoffs, unfortunately, at one point. But
Mm.
it was for the survival of the business. It was some
Mm.
quite surgical parts. We had to like close our building division, for example.
Oh,
But it
okay.
was for we were going to go bust if we
You're
didn't.
gonna,
So
okay.
we had to make some tough decisions. And
Yeah.
I I was assisting on that. I had to do all the restructuring on the human side.
Mm.
And it was 2 or 3 years later, I was so challenged and I was a bit like, what next? This was just now, we were running along smoothly. It was just
Yeah.
da 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 da. And I was lacking the challenge. And I thought by
Yeah.
going up and starting myself as an HR consultant, that is a challenge.
Mm.
I've never done that before.
Okay.
Um, yes, I just wanted to be a better mother and a better wife. And I thought if I'm a freelance HR consultant, I can
Oh,
be
yeah.
a bit more flexible with my time.
Okay. So how long have you been a freelance HR consultant?
I would say it's well, I went back to to my
Okay.
point where
Okay. The
later.
story's not finished.
So I
Uh-huh.
think I did it for about 4 years. And then yes, and then yeah, so it would be for 3 years. And then when he was sort of out of school, I was 16, I went to direct employment because actually what I missed was being part of a team. When
Okay.
you when you're a consultant, you kind of
Mm,
parachute in, do some
mm,
firefighting,
yeah. And then,
fix disputes, restructure, you
yeah.
just hit the ground running
Yeah.
like a paratrooper,
Yeah.
full-time
Totally.
paratrooper. But
Totally.
I'd miss that team, the
Mm,
same people working as a team. I did miss it.
mm,
So, and like I said in the civil engineering, although I'm not a civil engineer and I couldn't
mm,
understand the technical stuff, I was able to function. I
mm.
ended up working in the software industry, and again, I didn't
Yeah.
understand the technical things they were doing, but I
Yeah.
could function, and I learned. I ended up staying in that sector for about 12 years, and yeah,
Okay.
I managed okay. So I couldn't do a technical interview, but that was fine. I would
Sure.
do all the other stages.
Mm, mm.
Um, yeah, so I didn't leave on bad terms or anything. I actually did
Oh,
stay on. I was retained on some advisory boards. I was like, trustee on a
mm.
pension, and I
Yeah.
was on the advisory board. So I kept my hand in. But when you're with a
Yeah.
family business, I mean, my
Mm,
brothers and cousins were still running it full
mm,
time,
mm.
who I saw a lot socially as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
You never really leave.
Oh, yeah. I
And I'm a
wanted to ask
shareholder.
if, yeah, yeah.
So I was involved in
Mm,
obviously the benefits of that
mm,
and the AGMs and
mm,
so I had
mm,
a tertiary role.
mm,
But I didn't set out my career in HR.
mm.
As I said, I had this,
Yeah.
didn't know, as a kid, didn't know what I wanted to do. I liked animals. I liked,
Mm.
I chose fashion because I quite like shopping for clothes and I still do. And it's a bit of my
Uh-huh.
weakness.
Yeah.
I also make clothes as well. So
Mm. Yeah.
like I made this top.
The jumper? You made the
Oh,
jumper?
it is handmade, but I didn't make it.
Oh,
I'm not I can knit, but I'm not the best.
okay. Okay.
Um, and uh, and that was the reason for it. But and I think that we call it the squiggly career. Your career can take
Right.
various
Yeah.
paths and everything. And
Mm.
although it wasn't my choice, it did actually suit me. I'm highly emotional intelligent, and I think
Yeah.
growing up in that pressured family, being the child of
Mm.
a family business, you learn that emotional
Mm.
intelligence because you're sort of
Mm. Yeah.
ducking around the
Yeah.
conflicts and so forth.
Yeah.
Um, and like I said, with my brothers and cousins on sort of third generation, it was never set
Mm.
out what we were going to do. We were never obliged to. I think some
Mm.
families you hear about them that go,
Yeah. It can.
we're
It
a
can.
line of doctors, you have to be
Yeah.
a doctor, or we're a line of solicitors, you must be a
Yeah.
solicitor. And it was never like that. So,
Okay.
I mean, and the other thing that's different about my generation is because the family were doing a little bit better, we all
Mm.
had private educations. My father didn't. But
Mm.
so again, we had a different
Mm.
education, and so
Okay.
as the that's why I'm so fascinated by succession because although it's the bloodline,
Mm. Mm.
and our sort of DNA is similar, we've been
Yeah.
brought up. We have different
Mm.
circles of friends, different outlooks. Obviously,
Yeah. Right.
generationally, we've got different viewpoints and everything.
Mm.
Yeah, so I found that interesting, and
Mm. Yeah.
just wrote. Yeah, so I just yesterday I was writing about being a child of
Mm.
a family business because
Mm.
I think people who write about family businesses are just want to
Mm.
talk about the leadership,
Mm.
succession and conflict and everything. And I just thought, yeah, what about the family the kids at home?
Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
affected. And, I
Sure.
know your history as well, and you were
Yeah.
one of those children.
Yeah. Yeah. Very, very different story to yours. Like the super, super different. But I wonder as a child.
But it's affected you in the adulthood because of your
Yeah.
choices, your career
Yeah.
choices.
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right about that. But for your childhood, like were you aware that there were privileges, even though there were some years that was like famine and feast and
It was weird, my surname was on vehicles. on
Yeah.
the streets. So it
Yeah.
became like a household name.
Right.
Um, as a and being Irish, I mean, I'm not Irish. I'm born in London. But
Mm.
having an Irish name, and in the
Mm.
70s we had the IRA bombing the
Yeah.
UK,
Yeah.
and people were you were stigmatized for it,
Yeah.
or you were looked at, and it was like nothing to do with me.
Yeah.
Um,
Mm.
we growing up, but that's for all Irish people.
Mm. Mm.
And then,
Right.
but the family business, I think the other thing was the hard work. My dad worked 6 days a week,
Mm.
and he only had one day off a
Yeah.
week.
Mm.
He often wasn't home for that either. He was playing golf, but
Right. Yeah.
it's it just was normal, you know.
Mm.
Like
Right.
my actual first job was a paper round, and I was too
Mm.
young for a paper round. I was subcontracting off my brothers because they were old enough to get rounds,
Oh,
and I'd
yeah.
wait round the corner and they'd give me a bag of newspapers and they would give me a few
Yeah.
coins
Yeah.
because they would pick up 2 or 3 bags and they'd give me one.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I have a really similar story. I did my sister's paper round because she had one and she used to prefer to do her homework. And I thought, oh, I'll do it. I'll make some money. So I was the
Legally
subcontractor.
too young.
I was probably too young. It was probably a bit illegal. It must have been about 11 or 12.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, sometimes I think with family businesses, it's a real blend of some people would see that there's absolute privileges, which perhaps there are, but then also you've got a very hard-working family and
I mean,
like,
like not so much my generation. My father, he flew on Concorde. He, had a Rolls Royce.
mm,
So,
mm,
he and his brothers were in the Sunday Times rich list. I mean,
right,
that's, you know, privilege.
sure,
Holiday homes and everything.
mm,
And he had I mean, before we had the scratch off maps, he literally had a map of the world and he had pins on it and he
oh,
traveled,
wow,
for holidays and just went everywhere.
yeah, well,
So, he had a great life.
mm,
Privilege, yes, I had a
mm,
private education and so did my brothers.
mm,
Other privilege was my father gave me some
mm,
money for my 21st. It was a deposit, enough money to get a deposit on
mm,
my first property. You
fab,
know, that was,
yeah,
it was a lot cheaper then, I know, but that was
oh,
significant. I got on the property ladder. I,
yeah, yeah,
yeah, he bought my first car for me. He bought me a horse,
oh,
you know.
yeah,
I mean, I
but
didn't
it's
ask for one, I got a horse.
yeah, but I want to stress the point that it's hard work. Like it's not easy having a business. So like it was earned
Oh,
wealth.
definitely, they worked hard. I
Yeah.
mean, he,
Mm,
he says it was hard work, bit of luck, being in
mm,
the right place at the right time. But he
mm,
he took a risk. I mean, he took other risks, and some
mm.
paid off, and some didn't.
Right.
I mean, my father lived abroad
Mm,
for a few years, and I rarely saw him. And he was
mm,
trying to launch a business in Europe,
mm,
and it's hard starting a business.
mm.
And he didn't have
Yeah.
enough money to come home and see the family, so he'd have to come
Right.
home on the coach. So
Mm.
getting a coach from Brussels to London
Yeah.
took hours, but
Mm.
it was the cheapest way to get back to see his family. And he
Oh.
probably was only coming back once a month, so it was hard
Mm.
for my mum because she suddenly became a
Yeah.
single parent with 3 kids.
Right. Right.
Things like that happened. So it wasn't all a bed of roses.
No.
As I
No.
said, when I was in my I think it was about 2002,
Mm.
2003. We
Mm.
nearly lost the business. It nearly went broke, and there'd been
Okay.
2,000 people unemployed. There would have been pensioners who had been affected and everything. And we went through
Mm.
really, really like it was
Mm.
by the wire. I
Mm.
thought it's gonna fail. Anyway, managed to salvage it, and that's and and talking about that actually,
Mm.
when I was when we did sell the business in 2017, one of the reasons was with our pension and our pensioners because we knew if
Okay.
we sold to this buyer, they
Yeah.
would have a fully funded pension, and it meant a lot because they did their loyalty to us. They
Okay.
worked for us. We had a
Oh.
lot of long-serving employees, and we wanted to
Okay.
ensure that that
Okay.
early team were
Mm. Okay.
looked after as well. Wasn't the
Oh,
only, a bit like leaving your
sure.
job. As you said, you
With
don't
a
leave
few
for one
reasons.
reason. It was several reasons.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and I like writing about succession because it's sort
Mm,
of, it's sort of like I've overlooked a bit. And I think people just think it's handing
oh,
over,
yeah.
but it's actually,
No.
there's
It's
emotional
huge.
and it's
Yeah.
separation. So if you've got someone, 'cause
Mm,
I saw it
mm,
like in with my grandfather and my father.
mm,
See it with other clients. So my
yeah.
grandfather and my father was trying to run the business, and my
Mm,
grandfather was hanging around meddling a bit. And I think there was friction there
mm.
because of
Right. Oh,
wouldn't let
founder.
go
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
wouldn't give him the full reign.
Right.
And I think that's another reason he went over to Belgium and set up another
Mm.
contracting business in another
Okay.
country.
Okay.
Um, and then on the next generation, I could see that. I mean, my father never left. He was still
Mm,
on the payroll well, he was chairman, but
mm,
he died on the job.
mm. Your father, your
Yeah,
dad.
he died. He was he was still an employee. He was 79 years old, but he was still an employee.
Wow.
Um,
Wow.
but the reason being, it gave
Mm,
him a purpose.
right.
It's the reason he didn't have
Yeah.
to go in every day, but he still
Sure.
had a title.
Yeah.
He was a bit like an ambassadorial kind of
Mm,
role.
mm,
He wasn't running the company, but I think that
mm.
helped his mental health as well.
Sure.
That
Sure.
if he'd have just sort of went, right, I'm retiring at 65.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, he would have driven my mother mad, which he did a bit anyway. But, you know, he would just get out of the house and go to the office.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
as people would know, when he
Yeah.
was in the office, he was sometimes just pulling the weeds out of the front car park,
Okay. Oh.
and he was the chairman.
Oh.
He liked doing things like that.
Yeah. This
Um,
classic entrepreneur, founder,
yeah.
like where you want to be there. Like it's your business and such a big part of who he was.
But it's frustrating for the incoming boss
Mm.
if they if
Oh.
they've not separated
Yeah.
because they're sort of meddling or
Mm.
looking
Looking.
or and
Yeah.
more because of the four brothers when the
Mm.
three of them did it was yeah,
Mm.
yes, three of them did lead it at one point, but there was only a 7 year age gap between all the brothers. So
Mm.
they were still around in the background, and it must have been,
Right.
I mean, they were brothers, so it was a team, but it must have been
Mm.
difficult. It wasn't
Mm.
normally if a CEO
Yeah.
starts a business, goes in a role, the previous CEO has
Yeah.
left, but
Mm.
in
Yeah.
family
Move
businesses,
out.
well, ours, it didn't really happen.
Yeah. Yeah.
We do write about that.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, you could probably get this all the time. This
Mm.
is your the
Mm.
door opener is the conflict within
Yeah.
family businesses.
Sure. Yeah.
That's when they sort of pick up the phone to you and
Yeah.
or
Oftentimes. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, and or HR, we
Yeah.
deal with conflict resolution.
Mm. Mm. But I wonder about your work these days because of course, I know now you are back into kind of consulting and you work with family businesses.
Yeah, I mean, I retired, a
Okay.
few years ago, but
Mm.
I've come back because I this year in the last year because I just enjoy it. I just thought this is
Mm.
mentally stimulating. I was always writing, even in the 2 years I wasn't working.
Mm.
It's about
Mm.
um, putting it out there, really.
Mm.
And there's loads of freelance HR people out there, but what
Sure.
sets me out that's different is that
Mm.
I've lived experience
Yeah.
like you. I
A
know what
lot.
it's like emotionally to feel that, to
Yeah.
feel that.
Yeah.
It's so um
Mm.
I mean, even my logo is
Mm.
actually a Celtic knot, which is the intertwined rope,
Mm. Right.
never-ending circle, and that's kind
Yeah.
of well, obviously the Celtic side
Mm.
symbolizes the Irish, but it's like the
Yeah.
the complicated dynamics of a family business
Mm.
is more
Yeah.
so than in the
Yeah.
politics of a standard
Right.
operating business, I
Yeah.
believe.
Yeah. Agreed. Agreed.
And because I've kind of understand it and have lived in it, I was thinking if I
Mm.
can offer this
Mm.
to family businesses of like who want some,
Mm.
objective advice.
Yeah.
Um,
Absolutely.
because actually, that's one thing. When I did leave and I was freelancing,
Mm.
I just went, oh, my job's so much easier. I haven't got any emotional attachment to
Mm.
any of these people
Ah,
because I'd
yeah.
spent my first 20 years of my career emotionally attached to my colleagues.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah. I bet it is night and day different. Night and day.
It was just an easier job to do. And
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
um, I never think, I think that there's a perception out there that the conflict is about money, and it's not, in my experience.
Mm.
That might be where it surfaces,
Mm. Right.
but there's
Yeah.
the underlying
Sure.
systems, and I think as a child,
Mm.
children of family
Mm.
businesses, because they've learned to sort of
Yeah.
be aware, they're not to
Yeah.
speak out and
Okay.
just to sort of keep the peace. But then if you're
Yeah.
not being vocal about issues,
Mm.
they
Yeah.
come out later.
Yeah. Yeah. Indeed. I find that some of my clients, when they come to me, the conflict, if we want to call it a conflict, it might have been years old. Like it tracks from years and years and years ago. Like it's not the idea that like there is one row and now there's a sense of urgency and it's like fast and hot. It's like no, not always, not always.
And they're just sort of you know grudges. It's kind of grudgy, yeah.
Yeah, yes.
um and it happens. I just,
Mm,
like
mm,
I want them to be aware of it, see it
mm,
for what it is, and not let it
mm.
destroy them,
Right.
destroy their relationship, or destroy their
Yeah,
business.
yeah. No.
Either.
Yeah.
I haven't got a magic wand and I can't give them
Mm,
a solution, but they just need to process it,
sure.
and
Yeah,
so they can survive
yeah,
without destroying each other.
yeah.
Um,
It's huge.
I've got family members who haven't spoken to each other for years. I end
Mm,
up being the mediator because they'll speak to me.
mm,
One side will
no.
speak to me, the other one will speak to me and everything. And I even now I say, well, why don't you ring each other? Like,
Yeah. No, yeah, it's a grudge. It is. I think that conversation and communication is just almost everything. Like it is.
and
If there was a magic
you've got to
wand,
let
the
that
wand
go
is a
too.
conversation. Mm,
It's like you just got to let it go.
yeah. Yes.
I mean, the because as I said, I've had to have some challenges, but you
Mm,
still bump into your
mm,
family at funerals and weddings,
yeah.
or they live locally and everything, and it's like you
Yeah.
don't want that awkwardness and everything. It's just like just
Yeah.
a bit really.
Yeah.
Um,
Totally.
I don't know what they
Totally.
think of me, but then I mean, I just try my
Mm.
best, and I will pick.
Oh,
I'm the sort of person who will just pick up the phone,
oh, okay.
whether they want to talk to me or not, and then I'll just keep ringing them until they do answer me.
Sure. You're going to keep going. You're going to keep going. Um, well, Lindsay, I have one eye on the time and I'm not going to keep you all afternoon because this has been really, really interesting to talk. And I guess before we wrap up, how can people find you? I'm going to put links down below, but how can people find you if they want to talk more?
Well, I'm on LinkedIn as Lindsay Brown, Lindsay with an A.
Mm,
And my website is concordianova.co.uk. And if
okay.
you go to the Insights page, you'll see my articles about family businesses,
Blogs.
my family business, and some really old photographs.
Yeah. Ooh, I'm here for the photographs. I'm gonna be there in about 5 minutes. I'm gonna be clicking. No. Thank you so much. I'm gonna put links down below so people can find you. And Lindsay, once again, thank you so much for coming on and talking. It's always lovely to hear the stories. So
Um,
thank you for sharing.
no problem. Nice. Thank you for the lovely opportunity.